In the last few lessons, we've talked about general guidelines and even common patterns that you might come across in music. But in this lesson, I wanted to go over a specific piece of music and discuss my fingering choices in context. In this lesson, we're going to go over the Prelude to the first Bach Cello Suite. And we're only going to go over the first 8 bars because there's a ton to talk about just in these first 8 bars. Now, I've included a PDF of the sheet music and my fingerings along with this video, so make sure you're following along with that in this lesson. Now let's start right from the beginning. In this first bar, I get a lot of questions about how to play that G. You play it open or do you close it? And for me, and I think for most people that play this piece on upright bass, the answer is open G. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, it just rings really nicely. When you're playing a piece that's completely solo like this, you want that ringing as much as possible because it kind of fills in the gaps and makes it sound a little bit more full. So use as many open strings and harmonics as possible. Now, if you can take a look at the first 4 bars in total, you'll see that every single bar has a pattern that is played throughout the entire full bar twice, right? And so because of this, I've planned out my fingering so that I hold the same hand shape all the way through every single bar. And I'm not shifting in the middle of the arpeggiated pattern. I'm holding a hand shape all the way through. And the reason I do this is for clarity, for accuracy, and it just makes my life a whole lot easier. So in the beginning, I've got open G, thumb on D, B, and A, and that's one hand shape. And then in the next bar, I move my thumb up to E and play that hand shape like that. If you can just kind of look at those fingering patterns, you can see that every single one is a very natural hand shape. Now in bar 4, the reason I chose to do this G closed on the D string as opposed to with, say, thumb on the G string was because I wanted that string crossing between the B and the G. When you play this on cello, you've got all of these string crossings, especially between 2 closely related notes like B and G. And I want to emulate that as much as possible because I think that's what Bach was going for. If you look at the whole piece, you find that a lot. So I'm going to try to emulate that as much as possible. So that's why I'm going to play it closed like this. To get that timbre change rather than on one string. It's just not the sound that I think Bach was looking for. And then the same thing happens in bar 6, where you've got C sharp on A, G on the D string, and then thumb on the G string. I chose that second to third to thumb finger pattern for that exact reason. You want to hear that distinct timbre change between the thumb on A and the G on the D string. That's exactly what Bach was looking for. Now bars 5 and 7 are perfect examples of when you have to choose between going across the string or shifting up and down on one string. Now for both of these, I'm going to go across the G to D to A string. And the reason for that is I'm focused all on clarity and accuracy, and I can still get a nice tone quality when I go across strings as opposed to shifting up and down. So this is what that would look like. And that's bar 5, and the same thing goes for bar 7. The only minor shift that I've got is to shift up to that D harmonic. And then everything else is just going to be in position. And again, the reason I do that is because I'm focused mostly on clarity at this point. If I were to go up and down, then it would get really slurpy. And instead, I want to focus on playing everything as accurately as possible in the same position. Now finally, I want to talk about that 4th finger that I've marked on the G harmonic on bar 8. Now I know I just got done telling you a couple lessons ago that I stop using 4th finger past the F sharp on the G string, or I don't use fourth finger on the F sharp on the G string. I use third finger instead. But in this case, when I'm going back to that B a second time, instead of shifting or pivoting to reach that G harmonic with third finger, my fourth finger is just right there. And I'm kind of holding it. It's not really very awkward. So I'm going to play fourth finger on that harmonic, rather than, again, pivoting maybe for that third finger. It eliminates a break, and it just kind of is easy. It's just right there. So this is a prime example of when one of those no-nos that we talked about earlier actually is okay. Planning fingerings is a huge task, and it'll take a while at first. But the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, and eventually you'll come up with your own fingering system that'll help you play your best.